Hello, and welcome to the vlogging pod. It's not just one headline today, it's the pattern behind all of them. Let's start with Iran. An Iranian delegation has arrived for negotiations, signaling that diplomacy is still on the table. And this came after the US president posted on Truth Social referencing an entire annihilation of the country itself. But at the same time, reports say Iranian linked cyber activity is still targeting US infrastructure and has increased. So you're seeing two things happen at once: talk on one side, escalation on the other. Then look at Russia and Ukraine. A prisoner swap brought Ukrainians home, which matters. It shows communication is still open, but alongside that, bombings and strikes are still ongoing. So again, two realities exist at the same time: cooperation and continued war. Now, bring in the economic layer. There are discussions about allowing continued purchases of Russian oil, even after sanctions were put in place. That may seem like a contradiction, but it points to pressure. Energy prices, global markets, and stability are forcing decisions that don't always match the messaging people hear quickly. The same pattern shows up in Israel and Palestine situation. A video involving a Palestine child was shared by South Korea's president, which then drew criticism from Israel. Although the video itself is deeply disturbing in its content, and any harm toward a child is unacceptable. It also shows how quickly information moves, who shares it, and how it turns into international tension almost immediately. Information is no longer separate from conflict, it's part of it. And here at home, you're seeing movement too. There are renewed calls for hearings involving Epstein victims following public statements from the president's wife and reports that those statements were not fully coordinated ahead of time. Although we have repeatedly heard there isn't anything to investigate for the president himself. Those developments are now creating pressure for a public response. So when you step back, the pattern becomes hard to ignore. Negotiations are happening, but so is escalation. War continues even alongside cooperation. Economic decisions shift under pressure. Information spreads globally and creates real consequences. But underneath all of that is something else. For every one of these headlines, there seem to be two parts to the story, two directions that don't quite line up. And that raises a real question. What do we take at face value and what do we question? Because when one message says one thing, but actions suggest else, when diplomacy and conflict happen side by side, when information spreads but it is immediately disputed, it creates a gap between what's being said and what's actually unfolding. And that gap matters. Not because people aren't paying attention, but because the full picture isn't always presented all at once. So the global puzzle isn't just that everything is happening at the same time, it's that every piece of it seems to come with a second version, and figuring out which one reflects reality is becoming part of the story itself.